Welcome, everybody, to Uncluttered and Unfiltered. My name is Eden Kendall. Christine Stone is here, and we want to give a little bit of an introduction first because this topic, sometimes our topics lean only towards us all being over 50 because we are a podcast for women over 50. It's right there in the title. Other times you really lean into the fact that I'm kind of a scatterbrain, walking chaotic kind of person, and I embrace that. I'm a broadcaster. Christine Stone is a professional organizer, and this is one of those episodes that is going to heavily lean into that concept because we're very different on the subject.
Right.
And I had posted in our Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Only Facebook group, which you're all invited to join, by the way. I said, this question is from me to all of you. What systems do you have in place to get dinner on the table? Do you create a menu at the beginning of the week? Do you improvise each day? Do you food prep? Do you shop daily? Do you shop weekly? Now, obviously, everybody's in different situations. Sometimes people have other adults living at home like we do.
Right.
Sometimes people have kids still in the house. Sometimes you're an empty nester.
Like me.
So I wanted to ask everybody because I thought I could get some great tips that way. And I did. Some of you guys talk about getting your produce shares, which is a very cool concept where you're part of a farm to table. One of those kind of projects where you get deliveries of fresh produce every week. Others of you do meal plans. Others of you have those meal prep kits coming to your house. So there are a lot of different things that are going on. I wanted to know from you, Christine, Miss Organized, what happens in your household? And first of all, you're back to being an empty nest, but only a week ago, you had one of your daughters home for a while.
Yeah, well, for a month. But so I have to do a little background story on this because when you ask me, what do you cook during the week? What do you cook or what do you do? We were always the family that sat down every night and ate dinner together every single night, all the time. And when my older daughter left for college, it was so important for me to carry that on for my younger daughter. So we ate dinner, the three of us, every night, all the way through high school. Well, then when she left, it was just me and my husband. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done cooking. I'm not doing this anymore. It's, and then I realized we never saw each other that much because that was our one thing that we'd talk about the day and so I decided to go back to what I normally feel good about doing and I like to do, which is to cook. And I did a renovation and one of the parts of the renovation was a new kitchen. So it really even inspired me even more. So I cook every Sunday through Thursday and I do not cook on Friday and Saturdays unless we're just too tired to go out and we have something in the refrigerator. But generally Friday and Saturday nights are our nights out. And I really have gotten into a routine, it just being the two of us. And the first thing I can tell you is keep it simple. Do not try to make some Ina Garten 20-step recipe and then have it fail and go, what did I do wrong? Well, number one, we're not Ina Garten. Number two, I think my mom even laughs at me, by the way, keeping it to no more than 4 to 5 ingredients to me is my rule. If it has more than that, I'm not making it. So I've become very kind of rigid in what I cook every day. Not like in About Last Night where Monday is taco night, Tuesday is sandwich night, but we do like simple meals.
Okay, so what was for dinner last night? It was Sunday at the time we're recording this. So what did you have for Sunday night dinner last night?
Well, actually last night we had leftovers and let me tell you why, because Saturday, I did a huge grill all at the same time, meaning grilled a whole bunch of chicken, whole bunch of burgers so we could have prep already in the refrigerator ready to go. So I think that's another thing is really making batches of food that can stay in the kitchen, in the fridge for like more than a couple days so that you can make a chicken salad or have chicken on your salad or have chicken tacos and try to do things that are super, super simple.
Is there paper and pen involved in your week of cooking dinner?
No, but I do have an app. I do have an app.
What app?
It's Oh gosh, now
I
you
would
put me
hit
on
you
the
with that.
spot.
That's okay. You can come up with it,
It's
and we'll put it in their show notes.
yeah, it's very simple. That's why I use it. I mean, very simple. And I just put everything in there that I need. And when I'm at the grocery store, you check it off. Oh, it's called To-Do List app.
To-do list.
Sorry about
Okay.
that, everybody.
So it's an app that it's not specific to food. It's just a checklist app.
It's a checklist. So
Okay.
I have like 4 different lists going, but one of them is the grocery store.
Okay.
I also enjoy going to the grocery store. I really do.
Okay. So there's another thing in which we are different. I dread it.
I love it. I even know the produce guys. I mean, I really do enjoy it. I find that when my kids left and I was an empty nester, it was something that I enjoyed doing. Do I spend hours upon hours there? No, I don't have the time. But when I go, I do my weekly grocery shopping. And so part of being organized in your kitchen is making sure the kitchen flows right. That makes cooking super easy. So what do I mean by flowing right?
What do you mean by that?
So when I go in to organize someone's kitchen, I look at the stove, I look at the refrigerator, I look at the dishwasher, and I see where everything is. And then we remove everything out and replace it where I think things should go according to how the kitchen is flowing.
So what would be an unlikely scenario where maybe somebody's kitchen is set up different? So even though you're used to putting this here, you're going to recommend they don't do that at all. Instead, they put it somewhere else. Can you give any examples of that? For example, like maybe your utensils, the normal person might say, well, that's your utensil drawer, but you've noticed that that is too far away to make any sense.
Right. Well, you want to make everything go really fast and smooth, whether you're emptying the dishwasher or filling the dishwasher or cleaning up at the end of the night after dinner. You want it to all flow. And that is how a kitchen works when you want to cook. Now, not everybody likes cooking, so that would be, but if you really do want to keep it simple and cook small meals at home, that is the way to do it, is by looking at how your kitchen is flowing and is it working for you?
Have you ever done this? Every now and again, I will go through my freezer and I will make a list on a dry erase board what's in the freezer so that when we're trying to come up with what we're going to have that week, I can remind everybody, don't forget, we have this in the freezer right now, because everybody wants to say, and when I say everybody right now, it's just the husband and the girl child, the 22-year-old who's home now that she's graduated. Everybody wants to say there's nothing in the house. And I want to say in the freezer,
right,
there's a pound of chicken.
Right.
You've got to take it out and thaw it and use it before it's wasted.
Right.
So I'm constantly like making a list.
Well, one thing I always do is my garbage day is on Monday. So I always suggest to people cleaning out their refrigerator, their pantry once a week, the day before garbage day. Number one, anything that's expired or that you intended to use, but you really, you just never did and it's been sitting there. That is so important. Because number one, you don't want to clean it out and garbage day is in 5 days. It's going to smell everything up outside. So really looking at your garbage day and doing a good clean out the day before so that it all goes out. While I'm doing that though, that's when I'm making my list. So do I need mushrooms? Do I need lettuce? Do I need eggs? What do I need that either I totally don't have or went bad when we were out of town or whatever. So making lists is really important because it saves time and it saves money. And those are two things people are interested in doing. They really don't have a lot of time and they'd like to save money, because if you don't make lists, you forget and then you buy more and then you have too many and it causes clutter in the kitchen.
One thing I wanted to bring up was, and you and I are probably the least likely people that one would assume would lean into AI, artificial intelligence, but we have both found different uses for it. Not all of the crazy things that people are doing with it these days, but one thing I did was I went on AI and I asked ChatGPT the question. I said, can you make me a list, including recipes and a shopping list, of 5 meals that are gluten-free, low carb,
good
for dinners? And it gave me back an entire week of menus, recipes, grocery shopping list.
Were they 4 items or less, the recipes?
You know what? They were, there was nothing complicated in there.
Okay, good. Because I
Nothing
think that's
complicated in
the
there.
key.
It was like lettuce wraps.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I mean, I think just keeping it very, very simple is the key to still cooking when you're over 50 or you're an empty nester.
Mhm.
Of course, if you have kids at home, I mean, it's a whole different story.
Sure.
So I'm talking from an empty nester's perspective. And I have to say, my husband really enjoys my cooking. So I kind of like it because he loves to eat. And so he will have seconds. He'll be like, can I have more of that? I'm like,
Yes.
strutting around like, sure
It's
you
your
can.
love language,
Right.
baby.
That you like what I cook. So I think that it all depends on your lifestyle and where you're at and, what's going on.
Well, I wanted to do this topic because I wanted to share a conversation like this that I would like to have more of with more of my friends that are leading lives that are similar to mine. And that's why I brought it up in the first place, because I like knowing what everybody else is doing. So for example, what's for dinner tonight at the Stones?
So for dinner tonight is a roasted chicken. Why, you ask? Because it's Monday.
Okay.
And a roasted chicken is pretty big. And so I always have leftovers, which is great. So I can use it for lunch because I don't eat out a lot at all for lunch. So I like to have leftovers for lunch. I love making a roasted chicken because number one, it's super, super, super easy and delicious and easy to do. You just preheat the oven, put the chicken in. When it's done, you slice it up and you eat it, put a couple vegetables, a starch if someone wants that, and make a quick salad and I'm done. I mean, super, super
So
easy. I want to know if you've heard about girl dinners.
Is that a dinner that a girl would eat? Because outside of that, no.
Okay, so my husband was out of town. My daughter was at home. And I was having like cheese and some salami and
like a
charcuterie.
Yeah.
And then I had some olives and I go, boy, I'm full now. That's it. I'm good. And she goes, you just had a girl dinner. I go, what is a girl dinner? Okay. I have to read this to you because to me, it's so funny. The informal term girl dinner is used to refer to a meal typically consisting of snacks, side dishes, and small portions, often randomly assembled foods. Regardless of its components, girl dinner is typically characterized by its small portions. So leftovers, snacks.
Yes.
And what I've gotten into is if my husband can't be home for dinner, then I'll eat my dinner at like 4. So really, I've really hit that point in my life. And then I'll be done until the morning for breakfast. And I'm not doing any certain diet or anything. It's just, I mean, if I eat late, then I'm just not interested in eating again for dinner. So that I didn't know it was a thing, but I've been doing girl dinner when my husband isn't around.
I got a kick out of this show, Only Murders in the Building. Do you watch that? Okay, so one of the characters loves dip. He could eat dip for every meal, and I mean chips and dip, but I think sometimes he even just eats the dip with a spoon. Dip, dip, dip. That's me. Salsa, some chips and salsa, and maybe just, I don't know, a piece of cheese like you mentioned. That would be, I guess it would qualify as a girl dinner.
Oh, that definitely qualifies.
Yeah.
So what they're saying, I think, is that men are meat and potato guys. They have to have a real meal and they have to sit down and like have 4 different things going. We're women. We can have some cheese, crackers, a few olives and be done for the day. Number one, because we don't want to cook if we have to cook for one person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or just being willing to scrape a bunch of very different items together. The other night, my daughter asked what I was having for dinner. And I said, well, I think I'm just going to have this, whatever it was. I can't even remember now, but I know for her, I said, would you like some soup and pizza?
That's girl dinner.
A cup of soup and 1 slice of leftover pizza.
That's
done.
Yeah, girls are like that, though. We don't need a bunch of food at every single meal. Like we just need something to make us feel satisfied.
But when we need chocolate, we need it.
Oh, well, that's different. We haven't gotten into desserts.
That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole nother thing.
But I do appreciate this conversation a lot. I am interested in knowing still what everybody else is doing. So you will see if you join our Uncluttered and our Unfiltered ladies only page, you'll see I think it's a lady like holding her head like she's getting a migraine saying, what's for dinner? So look for that post and underneath it comment, because your comments, I'm reading them all and I'm taking a little bit of this idea, a little bit of that. Some people I know go to the store every single day and just do. And that's my husband. He likes to just make a quick Publix run and decide later, at the last minute what he wants. I can see a combination of that working for me. I need to have a couple of things ready to go, and I need to have a couple of options where if at the last minute somebody wants to run and get this or that or the other or add to a meal, but
everyone's different.
Everybody's different.
Yeah,
and like we always say, to each their own.
Right. And also, if I had kids at home, I would make sure that, it was a bigger meal than what maybe my husband and I normally have, because you have kids at home. But that's the good thing about being an empty nester.
That's another good thing about being an empty nester. There's so much to enjoy. Speaking of which, to all of you guys that are brand new empty nesters, we want to tell you that we are thinking about you, and it's going to get better.
Yes.
And we are here for you in all things. So please do like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. We are mostly loving our ladies only private Facebook group. We sometimes do giveaways though on the other. So join everything.
Yes.
Join everything. And what else? 5-star reviews. These are all things that just help others discover the podcast. And we appreciate you sharing with your friends. In the meantime, remember, whether it's planning dinner or making a girl dinner with some cheese and an olive, you can let it go.
And don't look back.